Welcome back to a space where we speak truth, not just what sounds good. Today, we're unpacking something that doesn't get talked about enough, the quiet strength of introverted men and what they should truly look for in a partner. Because let's face it, in a world that rewards loud voices and flashy moves, the calm, reflective man often goes unseen. But here's the truth. Your silence has power, your depth has value, and the woman who stands beside you, she should see that, honor that, and know how to hold space for it. This one's for the men who don't speak often, but when they do, every word matters. Let's get into it. In today's world, silence is often misunderstood. It's misread as disinterest, awkwardness, or even emotional distance. But for introverted men, silence isn't emptiness, it's a form of language, a place of reflection, recharging, and grounding. When you're wired to find clarity in solitude, a partner who expects constant verbal expression can unintentionally create pressure instead of peace. So what does it mean to find someone who values silence? It means finding a woman who understands that meaningful connection isn't always loud. Someone who doesn't rush to fill the quiet with noise, but can sit beside you on the couch, share a moment, and feel completely connected even without a single word. That kind of silence isn't uncomfortable, it's intimate. As an introverted man, your energy isn't just drained by crowds or constant interaction. It's drained by having to explain yourself repeatedly to someone who doesn't understand your need for stillness. You don't need a partner who interprets your quiet as emotional withdrawal. You need someone who sees it as a natural rhythm of your being, and even more, someone who knows how to hold space within that rhythm. A woman who values silence is a woman who has likely done inner work. She knows the power of presence without performance. She won't force you to open up in ways that feel unnatural, nor will she try to fill every moment with stimulation. Instead, she will understand that connection isn't just about talking. It's about feeling safe, seen, and understood in each other's presence. This doesn't mean communication goes out the window, of course not. Every healthy relationship needs open and honest dialogue. But for the introverted man, the most powerful conversations often happen in moments of calm, not confrontation. And a woman who gets that will allow your words to come in your time, not on her timeline. She will notice the way your energy shifts when the room is calm. She will respect the way you prefer to think before you speak. She won't interrupt your process or ask you to become someone louder, flashier, or more animated, just to meet some external standard of being present. In fact, a woman who values silence will often be someone who deeply respects emotional safety. And that kind of woman will notice what you say even when you don't say it. She will read your energy. She'll recognize the moments when you're holding back, not because you're hiding, but because you're protecting your peace. And she won't guilt trip you into explaining every emotion on demand. Instead, she will build trust slowly, through consistency, not confrontation. Through shared silence that feels like comfort, not a void, and in doing so, she becomes your sanctuary, not your storm. So if you're an introverted man seeking a partner, pay attention to how she responds to your silence. Does she get uncomfortable? Does she take it personally? Does she try to fix it? Or does she lean in with curiosity, patience, and grace? The woman who values silence isn't passive, she's powerful because she knows how to create space without pressure. And that kind of woman, she'll give your inner world the freedom to breathe. For an introverted man, emotional chaos is not just draining, it's disruptive to your entire inner ecosystem. You're someone who reflects before reacting. You feel deeply, but often quietly. So when you're paired with someone who thrives on emotional volatility, it doesn't create connection, it creates exhaustion. Emotional intelligence is not about being perfectly calm all the time. It's not about hiding feelings or avoiding hard conversations. It's about self-awareness. It's about knowing how to recognize your own emotional triggers and manage them in a way that builds safety, not confusion. And for you, a man who finds peace in internal clarity, a partner with emotional intelligence is not a luxury, it's a necessity. When a woman is emotionally intelligent, she doesn't weaponize her feelings. She doesn't raise her voice to make a point, nor does she shut down in silence to punish you. She communicates not to win, but to connect. She has the maturity to sit in discomfort without escalating it into a performance. That is crucial for someone like you who doesn't thrive on conflict. You see, emotional drama tends to demand constant engagement. It pulls you into rapid, fire reactions and manipulative emotional tactics that leave you feeling confused and disrespected. And because you're naturally more reflective and inward, it can take you longer to fully process a heated moment. A woman who lacks emotional intelligence won't understand that. She'll misinterpret your pause as apathy. She'll expect instant responses and label your calmness as coldness. But the woman with emotional intelligence, she knows better. She understands that emotional connection doesn't mean constant intensity. She knows how to regulate her feelings, not suppress them, but guide them with care. She doesn't need to create chaos just to feel closeness. She also understands boundaries, and more importantly, she respects them. She knows that your need for space during conflict isn't avoidance, it's a method of protecting both yourself and the relationship. She doesn't corner you emotionally. She doesn't use tears or guilt as leverage. Instead, she chooses clarity. And in return, she creates a space where you feel safe enough to open up without being pressured. One of the greatest gifts a woman can give to an introverted man is emotional predictability. Not emotional dullness, but emotional safety, knowing that when things get hard, she won't explode or disappear. She'll show up with grace, with understanding, and with the ability to communicate rather than dominate. That kind of woman knows how to hold two truths at once. She can be vulnerable and strong. She can express frustration and still be respectful. She can hold her own without stepping on yours. This is the kind of woman who builds bridges instead of burning them. And this matters because for the introverted man, emotional trust takes time. You don't give it easily. You watch how someone reacts when they're frustrated. You observe how they speak when they're hurt. And when you see that their emotions are tools, not weapons, you begin to relax. You begin to share more. You begin to let your guard down, not out of obligation, but because you feel safe, so be discerning. When you meet a woman who always seems to be in a storm, who creates intensity just to feel alive, recognize that for what it is, instability. You are not here to be someone's emotional punching bag or anchor for their chaos. You are here to build a life of peace, depth, and meaning. And for that, you need someone who can meet you on steady ground. The woman with emotional intelligence will not be the loudest in the room. But she will be the one who knows how to stand beside you, not in your shadow, but in your light, and that light. It only shines when you're not constantly having to dim it for the sake of someone else's outbursts. Choose the woman who protects your peace, not the one who forces you to defend it every day. In a world full of noise, people hear a lot but rarely listen. Especially when it comes to men who are quieter by nature, you may not be the one dominating the conversation or always offering long explanations, but when you speak, you mean what you say. And for someone like you, the way a partner listens tells you everything about whether you can trust her with your truth. Listening is not passive, it's one of the deepest acts of love and respect, but the reality is, many people listen just to respond, not to understand. They're waiting for a pause so they can insert their opinion, judgment, or rebuttal. That kind of listening is not connection, it's performance. As an introverted man, you need a partner who knows how to be present, not just physically, but emotionally. Someone who doesn't rush your words, someone who doesn't interrupt your pauses, someone who doesn't pressure you to always explain yourself in the moment. You need a listener who is patient. This kind of woman understands that listening is a language in itself. She hears what's being said, but more importantly, she senses what isn't. She pays attention to your tone, your expressions, your energy. She knows that sometimes your silence is a doorway, not a wall, and she doesn't try to kick it down, she waits for it to open. You don't speak just to speak, you choose your words, you think before you open your mouth. So when you're vulnerable, when you share what you feel or dream about, the way your partner listens can either encourage you to open more or shut you down entirely. If she dismisses your thoughts, finishes your sentences, or redirects the conversation back to herself, It chips away at the emotional intimacy you're trying to build. But the right woman listens with curiosity, not control. She's not trying to manage you, she's trying to understand you. She doesn't judge the way you process things, she respects it. She gives you the floor, even if you only need it for a few quiet moments. And that's when real connection begins. When you find a woman who truly listens, she's showing you she values your mind. Not just your presence, not just what you can give, but who you are. She's saying, I see you, I'm here, and I care about what matters to you. And in a relationship, that creates a foundation far stronger than surface-level attraction or constant stimulation ever could. So don't settle for someone who talks over you. Don't ignore the feeling you get when someone just isn't present. Pay attention, because if she doesn't truly listen to you now, she won't respect your voice later. Your voice may be quiet, but it carries weight. Give it only to those who know how to receive it. Solitude isn't a weakness. For introverted men, it's often the very thing that restores strength, clarity, and peace. But in relationships, solitude is often misunderstood, even feared. Many partners interpret it as rejection, detachment, or emotional distance. And when you're constantly having to explain or justify your need for alone time, it starts to feel like your very nature is being challenged. A woman who honors your solitude is a woman who understands that needing space doesn't mean you're pulling away, it means you're grounding yourself. She doesn't take it personally because she knows that solitude is part of your emotional rhythm. Just like others might need noise, activity, or constant engagement to feel whole, you need quiet not to avoid love, but to preserve it. When you're with someone who demands your presence 24/7, who feels offended when you retreat into yourself, you're forced to either abandon your needs or constantly explain them. Neither of those are sustainable. A partner who understands you will see that your time alone doesn't compete with your time together. Instead, it enhances it. You return more present, more engaged, more able to give because you were allowed to refill your cup. This woman doesn't make you feel guilty for turning inward. She doesn't send passive, aggressive texts when you don't respond instantly. She doesn't question your love every time you choose to be quiet instead of expressive. Instead, she gives you the freedom to breathe, and in that freedom, you choose her again and again. Not because she pressures you to, but because she respects your design. Honoring solitude isn't about distance, it's about understanding boundaries. And the truth is, someone who can't respect your solitude will eventually cross other boundaries too. They'll try to define your emotional availability by their own expectations. They'll start to measure your love by how often you're on, rather than how deeply you care. And slowly, you'll begin to shrink. You'll become a version of yourself that exists to make someone else feel secure instead of simply being yourself. But the woman who truly sees you won't ask you to change your nature. She'll adapt to your flow, and more importantly, she'll match it with emotional maturity. She'll understand that relationships aren't built only in shared moments, but also in the spaces between them, the spaces where each person can reconnect with themselves. This kind of woman is rare. She knows that your need for solitude doesn't make you emotionally unavailable, it makes you self-aware. And when she sees you returning from those moments of reflection, more calm, more present, and more loving, she won't question it, she'll value it. Choose the woman who doesn't fear your solitude. Choose the one who respects it, welcomes it, and trusts it. Because when she does, she's not just accepting your love, she's accepting you. For introverted men, mental and emotional clarity is essential. You don't thrive in uncertainty. You value consistency, emotional honesty, and clear intentions. You don't play games, and you don't want to be caught in one. That's why one of the most vital things to look for in a partner is clarity, not charm, not chaos, but clarity. Confusion isn't chemistry, it's dysfunction dressed up as excitement, and if you're not careful, you'll mistake emotional roller coasters for romance. But relationships built on unpredictability, one day hot, the next day cold, are not healthy. They erode your confidence, cloud your judgment, and keep you in a constant state of self-doubt. The woman you want by your side is one who communicates her needs clearly. She doesn't rely on mixed signals. She tells you what she feels, what she expects, and where she stands. She doesn't keep you guessing. She doesn't punish you with silence or manipulate you through withdrawal. And most importantly, she doesn't make you feel like you're chasing love that should be mutual. When a woman is clear, she's safe. Safe doesn't mean boring, it means stable. And stability is what allows you to open up at your own pace. You don't have to decode her emotions. You don't have to analyze every word for hidden meaning. You can trust that what she says is what she means, and that trust frees you to be fully present in the relationship. You see, as an introvert, you already spend a lot of time in your head, reflecting, analyzing, processing. The last thing you need is a relationship that feels like a mental chess game. That kind of energy is exhausting, not exciting. You want peace, not puzzles. A partner who brings clarity doesn't just communicate well, she also lives with integrity. Her actions match her words. She doesn't flirt with other people to test your reaction. She doesn't create jealousy to feel desired. She knows that real connection is built through transparency, not tactics, and when things get hard, because they will, she doesn't hide behind vague language or emotional shutdowns. She talks through problems, she explains her feelings, she works with you, not against you. That clarity creates safety. And safety is what allows a relationship to grow. So when you meet someone who brings confusion into your life, ask yourself, is this what I want to build my peace on? Because love that keeps you uncertain isn't love, it's control. Choose the woman who makes her heart clear, not because she's perfect, but because she's honest. Introverted men often get overlooked in a world that values external validation. You're not the loudest in the room. You don't perform for attention, but your strength, it's steady, it's internal, and it builds quietly over time. So when choosing a partner, you need someone who recognizes that and supports your growth, not just your moments of visibility. Performance-based relationships are built on conditions. You're loved when you show up a certain way. You're valued when you meet certain expectations. You're praised when you match someone's ideal image. But the moment you fall silent, the moment you retreat into your thoughts, the affection shifts, and you begin to feel like you're only appreciated when you're on. But growth is not a performance. It's personal, it's uneven, and often invisible to the outside world. A woman who truly supports you isn't watching for a highlight reel. She's invested in your quiet progress. She sees your effort, not just your results. She honors your journey, even when it's slow, uncertain, or internal. This woman won't push you to be someone you're not. She won't compare you to louder, flashier men. She won't ask you to constantly prove your worth. Instead, she will ask how you're feeling. She'll want to know what you're working on, not just professionally, but personally, spiritually, emotionally. She'll be curious about your dreams, even if they're unconventional or quiet. She'll hold you accountable not with shame, but with belief. She'll push you to be better, not so you can impress others, but so you can be more aligned with yourself. That kind of support creates lasting connection, because it's not based on what you do, it's based on who you are. In her presence, you won't feel the need to pretend. You won't feel like you have to constantly be good enough. You'll feel encouraged. You'll feel seen, and from that space, your natural strengths will flourish. Choose the woman who's not just proud of what you show the world, but who respects what you're building in silence. The one who roots for your process, not just your outcome. It's easy to chase passion, the sparks, the butterflies, the intense chemistry. It all feels intoxicating at first. But passion without peace is a storm, and for the introverted man, storms may feel exciting in the moment, but they leave destruction in the long run. Peace isn't boring, it's powerful. It's the calm that allows you to breathe, think, and feel safe. And a woman who brings peace into your life, not just heat, is the one who helps you grow. When passion is all you chase, you often miss the warning signs, the emotional instability, the inconsistency, the tension that never really settles, and eventually passion turns into anxiety. You begin to confuse emotional highs and lows for depth. But that's not connection, that's codependency. Peace looks like emotional stability. It looks like calm communication. It looks like a woman who doesn't create drama to feel close. She doesn't need constant stimulation to feel loved. She's centered, she's grounded, and in her presence you relax. You don't feel like you're walking on eggshells. You don't feel like you have to perform or keep her attention. You simply are, and that peace, it brings out the best in you. She challenges you, but with kindness. She disagrees, but with respect. She shows up not just when it's easy, but when it's real. That's the kind of partnership that sustains love far beyond the initial passion. So choose the woman who brings calm to your life. The one who helps your nervous system settle, not spike, because in that peace, true passion can grow, not the reckless kind, but the steady kind that lasts a lifetime.